Are plant-based diets really healthier? A recent trial examining 600 people on a pro-vegetarian diet. It was a prospective cohort study, so they followed them through time in the future over the course of 12 years, examined the effects of a pro-vegetarian diet and in adherence to what they called a healthful pro-vegetarian diet, which is a plant-based diet, versus an unhealthful pro-vegetarian diet. We'll talk about the classifications for those here in a second. On all-cause mortality and cardiovascular disease risk. Okay, so what are the chances of these people dying from pretty much anything, and what are their chances of getting heart disease in simple if they have this plant-based pro-vegetarian diet, and more specifically, if they adhere to a certain type or of this diet, or they eat more specific foods. So a healthful pro-vegetarian diet, they classified as containing specific foods such as fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts, olive oil, coffee, tea, and boiled potatoes. Okay, an unhealthful pro-vegetarian diet, they classified as containing sweets, desserts, sugar-sweetened beverages, fruit juice, refined grains, fries, chips, all things of that nature. All right. And they wanted to see people with a higher adherence to a healthful pro-vegetarian diet to an unhealthful pro-vegetarian diet. What was their risk here for all-cause mortality and heart disease? Because both are plant-based pro-vegetarian diets, right? So is in general this just better? Not necessarily. The results showed a higher adherence to a healthful pro-vegetarian diet, which has a lot of the good stuff in it, right? And less of the bad stuff, of course, that we just mentioned. Showed a 41% and 53% reduced risk of all-cause death or all-cause mortality and heart disease, aka cardiovascular disease, respectively. So they had 41 and 53% reduced risk of death and heart disease. Did the people that had a higher adherence to the healthful pro-vegetarian diet. Now, those with a higher adherence to an unhealthful pro-vegetarian diet had a 53% and 110% increased risk of all-cause mortality and heart disease. So the people that were eating plant-based foods, but they were having a lot of refined grains and processed foods and chips and sugar-sweetened beverages and all this kind of crap. Just because it was plant-based doesn't mean it was good for them, right? Of course, you know, they were definitely less healthy, and they would be less healthy than somebody that consumed almost all meat, that ate food from nature, right? But what is the drive home point here? The drive home point is, instead of being a carnivore or instead of being a complete vegetarian or vegan, have a balance and don't have processed foods, right? All the things we mentioned for a healthful pro-vegetarian diet, they come from nature. Those are all great things for you. But what do we typically lack if we have a pure carnivore or a vegetarian diet? Well, if you have a pure carnivore diet, typically people will lack vitamin C, vitamin E, folate, magnesium, and fiber. Those are probably the big five, all right? And if somebody has a vegetarian diet or a pro-vegetarian, right, a vegan diet, they typically will lack things like B12, omega-3s. They'll lack vitamin D. That comes from animal sources, because remember, vitamin D3 comes from animal sources. The best source is what? The sun, right? But we absorb D3 better than the form D2, which you find in plant-based foods, right? And it will raise your blood serum vitamin D levels for longer while having vitamin D3. And that's why people supplement with vitamin D3 if they don't get enough sunlight or eat animal-based foods that are high in D3. Good example would be fatty fish, like salmon. All right, I believe they're the highest animal source of vitamin D. But again, sunlight's best. All right. So aside from those, creatine, carnitine, beta-alanine if you work out, salt if you has iodine, right? So low levels of iodine you see in vegetarians or vegans if they have a low salt intake as well. And you can't forget about complete protein and heme iron, right? So complete protein has all the essential building blocks of protein, aka amino acids that we find in animal-based foods, right? In meat and fish, things like that, and eggs, right? Dairy even has them all, and we call that complete protein, right? So those are all of the building blocks of proteins that we don't make ourselves in the body. Okay, so typically people with a plant-based diet, they might be low in good quality protein. And not always, if they supplement properly and they, do everything they can. But, what's better than protein supplements, right, is definitely getting protein from food. All right, we can't drive that home enough. Just in general, food, first and foremost for your nutrition, your vitamins and minerals, and really everything, macronutrients, right? On top of that, vegetarians typically lack iron because albeit you're getting iron from some plant-based foods, it's non-heme iron, so it's not absorbed as well by your body. So the iron's not created equally between animal-based and plant-based foods. So the whole point here is, like I said, have a balance. Just because it's plant-based doesn't necessarily mean it's healthier for you guys. So don't jump on that bandwagon of some new fad diet that's come out. Just use common sense, have whole food from nature, and have a nice balance, a little bit of everything with a colorful plate. And get your body weight in grams of protein per day and have a lot of healthy fats, but make sure you still get your fruits and vegetables and you get some soluble fiber, especially vegetables. Who do we got on here? Let's say what's up to the peeps. Ma, love you. Good morning. Bright and early today, baby. We got a wedding today, so we're getting this done early. Rise and shine. Thank God for Super You. Here we are, awake and able to remember that stuff. Yeah, couldn't forget it if I tried. You're right, a lot of it. Yeah, it is. OJB guy. Yeah, absolutely, my pleasure. Ezekiel. Zach, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? Happy today. You're an early bird as well, it seems. And as for now, so we got for you folks. We'll see you tomorrow, baby. Not sure where, not sure when, but we'll see you then. Have an awesome rest of your day. Thanks a lot. Happy When Wellness. Before we go, actually, before I forget, I said, don't forget, Steve Ford. Happy birthday, dude. I hope you have an awesome day. I don't know if we're friends on Instagram, but this one's for you. Happy birthday to you. Wake everybody in the house up. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Steve Ford. Happy birthday to you. And many, many more, my friend. Enjoy it. It's your day in the book of When Wellness. And as for now, we'll see you guys later. Already did our thing and said all that stuff. Have a good day.